Cast a shadow on me. Are we off? Are we off and running, are we?
Oi.
Are we off and running?
Yeah.
Yeah, baby, yeah. Lost my camera woman again tonight, she's not here. So I have Grakey tonight.
Hello.
For goodness sakey, it's Grakey. Right, let's like and share, then I'll share it a few places, and then we'll crack straight on with this tonight. We'll get in there. I had a great night in the mess last night. Nice to see some old faces in there. The Peterborough. The dog's in the way now, doing his thing. Hello, Andrew, you stupid animal. Share now. Andrew's getting up nice and close. Right, share it in. Share to one more page, and then we'll crack on. I'm going to rant tonight. I'm going to rant by request, actually, which is makes a nice change. Right, there we go. So that's shared all over the place. Got a few people watching now. Like and share. Let's get this audience going, and then I'll crack on and start my showing. Bring it rhymes a little bit. There we go. Right, okay. SoftRap TV then. Don't forget SoftRap TV. It's on there. You just need to go and watch it. And there's SoftRap Radio, and there's all sorts of blogs. And like I say, the blogs are done by people who've been there, seen it, and done it. They are all operator blogs written by people who tell you what is actually happening and not what they think is happening. All right, they'll tell you the truth. Okay, so there's some good blogs on there. There really is. I picked a couple out today. There's some cockpit footage of some RAF Typhoons hounding down some Russian bombers. That's cockpit footage, so that's quite good. And well, wait and see. I'm not going to spoil it for you. That's great. And there's an EDC one for you Americans out there, discussing whether or not, or what condition you should carry your pistol in. Should you be carrying one up the spout, or should you be carrying it loaded, or should you be carrying it with the mag off? Now, my personal feel on anyone who's going to carry a firearm, if you're going to carry it covertly, is that it needs to be loaded and made ready, which is, I think the Americans call it state one. Okay, the reason being, do you really have time to pull it out, make it ready? No, it needs to be coming out and it needs to be firing as it's coming out. If you need to use that weapon, it's because something's gone severely wrong. And if something's gone severely wrong, it needs to come out of its holster working. It doesn't need to come out of its holster to come up here to be cocked, to be made ready, and all that sort of stuff. It needs to come out working, all right? So that's my bottom line on that one. So I'm not too sure what the arguments are for the other methods of carry, but for me, as an SF operator, which I once was, I'd like to still think I've got those skills in the bank, and I would be bringing my weapon out, and I would not carry it anywhere unless it was made ready, or state one, as the Americans call it, okay? They'd be around up the spout at all times. And like I say, I'm not put off by the fact it hasn't got a safety catch. That's my safety catch, okay, is my finger. It won't go bang if I don't pull the trigger, all right? That is the bottom line, all right? So don't be scared of carrying weapons made ready. If you need to carry a weapon, you deem yourself, if you're eligible to carry a weapon, carry that weapon. If you're going to carry it, you might as well carry it made ready. Otherwise, it's going to get taken off you on the day of the race, or not be used in time, or you'll come second. And coming second when you've got a weapon is not the best of options, is it? So there you go. So that's my opinion on that one. So I'm not going to read that one. You can have a read it if you like, but my opinion on loaded weapons are loaded, made ready all the time, concealed carry. There you go. So that's that one. Okay, right. Let's have a quick butchers. Now, Wendy sent me a photo today, which she wanted me to mention, and I actually didn't get this story. So it's about I'm going to read it to you, what it says on the photo. I don't know the origins of the photograph, so if people could tell me, I'd be much grateful. But it's a great-grandfather, Fred Cannon. He's aged 90 years old. He was shot in the leg during the D-Day landings, and he's left with just £10 a week after the council raids his war pension to pay for his care. All right? Now, that's not a lot of money. For a man who served his country, his care should be there, as far as I'm concerned. It shouldn't be an issue, especially as he's been shot. He's obviously carrying injuries. To make it to 90 is a tremendous thing, unless you're not being looked after. And then it's absolutely fucking honking, isn't it? So I would like to see, something done with his Fred Cannon. I'd like to see something in general for anybody who's, given their service. They should be looked after when they get out. And that goes without saying. That's across the board. This man is not being looked after, and shame on the council for taking all his fucking money off him, all right? He should be looked after. That's the bottom line. I don't give a shit. I won't have it any other way, all right? So, right, on the photo, it goes on to say, meanwhile, the same government give away $12 billion a year in foreign aid. I'm going to talk a lot this week the remainder of this week about wasted money, because the government hemorrhages money left, right and centre in places it should never ever be fucking going. And the British Army, unfortunately, falls in that bracket for me, because it's doing a lot of it just lately, making adverts up, spending loads of money, this and that and the other, and not actually making a difference. Money is hemorrhaging out of these places, and it's money which could be going to people that need it. Okay, so I mentioned that one. So that's
You've got 20%.
20% what?
Battery.
Oh really? Is that all I've got?
Yeah.
You are going to have to get the lead from the kitchen, put that lead on there, and then plug it in.
Okay.
Older mob can't see. But that's why we have a production manager. Here he is, Grace, tonight, which is good. Okay, where were we going? That's thrown me a little bit. So that was it. So Mr. Cannon, that's just shocking. Just absolutely load of rubbish again. Right, Jordan Wiley brought my attention to another thing that was going on. Is it clicked out? Is it, Gracie?
No.
Okay, Jordan Wiley alerted me to another case. Now this case has been going on a long time. I'm going to read out what he sent to me on Messenger. This case has been going on quite a number of years. I'll give you a bit of background, and then let me have a quick mention about how it happened. Let me find my 2 seconds, folks. I'm having a bungle. I'm having a massive bungle here. Right, so Jordan Wiley sent me this, and he said it might make a mention on his show, and I think it's worthy of a mention. There is a petition at the end of this, and I'm going to try and get that posted out somewhere on my own site. If you go to Jordan Wiley's page, it's posted there, okay? And we're looking for 100,000 signatures on this, and I'm going to tell you why. It's a bit of a story, but I'm going to mention it from the very top. I'm going to read you what Jordan wrote to me. Hi mate, hope you're well, buddy. Can you help me with this case, mate? The facts, just got them from Carl's family. Carl Stewart Davis, that is. Now, Carl arrived into Reunion Island on board the Atlantic Trader on the 7th of November 2011. Okay? After a night out, Carl parted ways with his 2 colleagues from the ship. They decided to go to a nightclub stroke casino, and Carl was headed back to the ship. So last they saw the car, his body was found on the 9th of November by members of the French military or contractors working on behalf of them. He was face down in a storm drain. The storm drain was inside the military barracks. An out-of-body inspection took place on the Reunion Island by relevant authorities. Their findings were that no foul play was involved. Carl's family were involved.
No, it's 10%. Why not charge him?
It's put in the one at the back. That's the wrong thing.
Oh shit, my bad. Excuse me.
Yeah, that's okay. It's on now, isn't it?
I don't know. How do I check without coming on?
Don't worry about it. It'll come
yeah,
out. Just keep an eye on it. Okay. So Carl's body was found on the 9th of December by the military, and an inspection decided that there was no foul play. 1 week later, a different pathologist examined Carl's body. He noticed stab wounds to the side of the torso and a massive trauma to his head. A murder investigation was launched straight away, and Carl's body was sent to Paris for a forensic autopsy. Carl's family were informed by Kent police. This thing was already escalating into quite a series of serious bungles, to be honest. Newspapers from the UK and Reunion Island reported that Carl had been raped. This was not true. It was reflected with a feeble apology from the Daily Mirror. So the gutter element of the press built this into something it wasn't for its own gain, and then subsequently I expect they put a line that was about that big and you could only read it if you had glasses on, saying, terribly sorry, fucked up, but sold 1,000 papers. Well done. Anyway, so there you go. Carl's body was returned to his family in the UK on the 5th of December, so quite a bit of time, to be honest. Still no help from the British authorities. Meeting with members of the FCO proved to be pointless. The financial strain starts to take hold, and now the family must pay to mount a civil case. The family are also told to appoint a French lawyer, which they do. They go from one from Paris, who then proceeds to rip the family off for tens of thousands of pounds, then be prompted by the family to appoint Mr. Remy Boniface. So, in 2013, a gang were arrested on numerous charges, and whilst they were being investigated, the French authorities were suspicious that they may have been involved in Carl's murder. So they were authorised to listen to their phone calls. Whilst whistling, they heard this gang talking about the murder and alluding to the fact that they were involved. So subsequently they were remembered. 2 members of the gang, Jerome Sanase and Yahin Almada, were sentenced to 8 years each for their crimes they'd committed. Nothing to do with the murder of Carl. Okay, so they got 8 years for what they were doing. Anyway, they had this other evidence on them and it wasn't brought to light at the time, so they just went and did their 8 years. These individuals, along with the brothers Vincent and Kevin Mulder, were the gang members arrested for Carl's murder. Kevin Mulder admitted in a statement to the police that he had hit and kicked Carl, but said he never killed him. He told police that Jerome Sanase had tried to mug Carl, but Carl overpowered him and knocked him out. This led Yassine Hammer to hit Carl over the head and stab him repeatedly. 3 of the gang accused, Kevin, Jerome and Yassine, won their appeal against conviction. They had been advised by their lawyer to appeal. Vincent Maher, however, didn't appeal and stood trial. Kevin Mulder had fled the country to mainland France, even though he had a warrant out for his arrest and the evidence he gave to the police regarding Carl's murder. Vincent Mulder stood trial for Carl's murder on the 24th of June 2017. He was found guilty. The jury was unanimous. He received 15 years. During that trial, it was obvious Jerome Sanase, well, basically the other 3, the family informed they would not stand trial unless new evidence against them came to light. So the questions the family wants answered are: is the case still going on? Are the French police looking for new evidence so that they can open a case against them? Why, after now we know the investigation was flawed from the beginning, is someone from the authorities not being held accountable? 8 weeks after the conviction, Vincent Mulder was back in court for his appeal hearing. He won the appeal and had his 15-year sentence overturned unless he goes to retrial. Even after unanimous decision, why has this happened? To finalise, what Chris' families want is all 4 men to stand trial, Kevin Mulder to be arrested and brought back to Reunion Island to face justice. The police continue to gather evidence to make the arrests. Someone to be held accountable for the initial failings and bungling of the investigation that effectively led to killers of Carl David's been let off. And to let in the dark with the unanswered questions, to be left in the dark with unanswered questions. No help from the British authorities to deal with this tragic loss. Carl is unbearable. The family have no plans of stopping until everyone involved is behind bars. And basically they need to get 100,000 signatures like we did for the Chennai 6, okay, so that this thing can be held in front of Parliament and the wheels can start to be put in motion to hopefully try and help this family out with their tragic loss. Now that's another hideous story whereby, you know, when you take into comparison the amount of money that is being spent by our government, you know, in areas which at the moment we don't actually need to be helping whatsoever, when we've got our own stuff on our own doorstep to be sorting out, such as cases like this, you know, it needs to stop. That money needs to be brought back, and people like this need helping. Okay, this is a hideous thing. If that was one of your own, and I don't even like to think in those terms, and this was one of mine, it's just a horrible thing to think about. Okay, and it breaks me that they would do this sort of thing, and the government would just dismiss it. Okay, even without 100,000 signatures, somebody, you know, a local MP should be picking this story up and should be taking it into the fucking House of Commons and saying, right, can somebody help me action this? Can I have something from the FCO? Can we have, you know, can we have a copper sent over there to look at how things rolled out and how they panned out? And can we ultimately help this family bring the people that killed their loved one to book? It's not a difficult thing to do. If it was anybody else, if it was somebody, you know, of perceived higher fucking value within the fucking establishment, there'd be people out there right fucking now doing it, wouldn't there? Okay, that goes without saying. So why is it when somebody who's not of this sort of like public standing, as you were, gets into trouble, there is no help for him, her, whatever it is? Do you know what I mean? Okay, it needs to be an attitude of, you're a British citizen, you're abroad, you get in trouble, we help you as much as we can, and we help your family as much as we can, and we try and resolve the issues you have, you know, in a way where everybody's happy at the end of it. That should go without saying. If I can fucking get that right here, sat in my fucking living room, why the fuck can't these people in Parliament go, I'll tell you, that's not actually, Phil's actually got a fucking point there. Why don't we actually do that? Okay, so just have that on the back of your mind, all right? Okay. So Adam Mills said his missus was having an off day today and she'd like to see me have a rant. I do have a rant. I'm ranting about that because that makes me very angry, okay, that these people are being put through all this unnecessary aggro where I'm sure a couple of phone calls in the right direction could have somebody deployed, put on a plane, sent out there and actually start sorting this mess out for them straight away without them having to put their hand in their pocket, hire expensive lawyers, etc., 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 and there's your etc., etc., etc. for the day, okay? It's just not required. My second rant is about the great-granddad. not being looked after, because I think that's shocking. There's a third rant today. I'm in a sort of like quandary whether to rant or not, because it's a story that Trevor Court, he posted today. I haven't had time today because I've been up with the army today, doing a few bits and pieces. So I haven't had time to investigate this story fully. But basically, he's reported that a trooper from the Iranian embassy siege, whose name I don't yet know, and whether it's in the public domain or not, I don't know that either. I don't know if Trevor knows who it is. But somebody who served in the regiment, who was on the Iranian embassy siege, is homeless and is at the moment being supported by some sort of regimental charity. Okay, that's what the regimental charities are there for. But no soldier in this country should be left homeless. I've just looked around a camp which has got untold rooms, which are heated because they're on the same heating system as everybody else, empty. All right, there is no excuse for soldiers to be homeless. There should be some sort of aftercare in place whereby guys get a second fucking bite at the apple, they get a fucking chance, they have some sort of refuge in these great big fucking RAF camps, which are just full of people wasting fucking money and leaving bastard lights on and fucking just squandering fucking for squandering's fucking sake on £1.6 million fucking adverts, okay? That's the sort of bollocks that's fucking going on, and the money being fucking wasted left, right and fucking centre. And troops going on pointless fucking exercises that are just fucking shite from the fucking start. Everybody can see they are, and it just pisses people off because they've got to do them. It's no good taking the template from an exercise in fucking Kenya because it doesn't fucking work, do you know what I mean, when you try and do it on Salisbury Bastard Plain, alright? So it's just a waste of fucking money. Your money would be better off fucking helping people out, all right? So my rant on that one is, I'm fed up with this fucking homeless thing. The fact that it's someone from my regiment makes it worse for me. But the fact that any soldier from the fucking armed forces I served in has not got a fucking roof over his fucking head and fucking food in his fucking belly when there's fucking other people fucking who are less fucking deserved by a million fucking miles being handed out this, that and the fucking other. We need to look after our own first. Seriously need to look after our own first. And that's our veterans. There's a whole heap of people in this country, not just veterans as well, who are homeless through no fault of their fucking own, who are not getting the support they fucking need because the assets and the fucking money has been sent over fucking seas or given to people that shouldn't fucking be here. And that's the fucking bottom line of it. That's my rant today. Fucking rant that. All right, have some of that. All right, so there's my rant. So I had to have that one because it's just, as I'm reading every day, I pick up another fucking story, another homelessness, another this, another that, another the other, all right? And nobody seems to be twigging to it. And everybody jumps straight down your throat the minute you say something. And the political correctness of the whole situation, as I sort of like alluded to in the advert scene with the British Army the other day and all that sort of stuff, has just gone bizarrely through the fucking roof. And it's time the lid was put back on it and people were put back on their feet and steadied and go, right, okay, we've done that, we've overdone that. We need to now start concentrating on the things that matter and not the things that we're being told that matter, which don't matter at all. Okay, so there's me rant. So, Adam Mills, I hope your missus feels better. I feel better for getting that off my chest, I certainly do. And I'll have a look and see what questions are coming in because I haven't really switched on to this today. So we'll have a butchers and see what people have got to say. No Wendy again today, but Grace does a marvellous job.
What?
I said no Wendy today, but Grace does a marvellous job. She does, simply gracefully. If you want to follow her on Instagram, she's right, isn't Gracie? Question for you, mate. If you were the Defence Minister, what specific thing would you do to improve the military other than the obvious? Right, Leo Hitchcock. There are 3 areas at the moment, and I call them the 3 R's, which are drastically fucking wrong with the military. Drastically wrong. Not even fucking funny how wrong they are, okay? Recruitment, retention, and rehabilitation are the 3 things that need looking at. From the top to the bottom, from the inside to the out, okay? They are the 3 things that are going wrong. And they all affect each other, okay? So if a guy's not content, he gets out of the army, he then says to his mates, this is shit, his mate doesn't join up, okay? Recruitment, retention, resettlement. The whole thing just stinks of shit. Okay, so that's the way I'm going with this. What would I change about it? There's a whole heap of things I would change. I would change the way the recruiting works. Obviously, they've got a target from everywhere, but I would, the whole thing. We're going to have to do a show on this whole thing itself, of what improvements I think can be made for the British Army. But, you know, I have made contact with some quite senior people in the military, and I want to try and provide them with some ground truth, what we call ground truth, whereby, you know, I gather information from people where they see things going wrong, you know, and it's put across. Because at the moment, you know, you've got this recruiting company, who, now this is bizarre, right? You've got a recruiting company. They managed to lose nearly 6 months' worth of information on people, okay? Information on people who were trying to get into the army, therefore putting the whole recruitment process back by God knows how many fucking days, months, weeks, years, all right? They are fucking useless. What good is it having a civilian company? So I'll tell you why they do it. It's a penny pinching thing, but it's penny pinching in the wrong area, and I'll tell you for why, right? The way that the fucking recruitment officers used to work was you had a sergeant in there, a senior guy who knew his way around the place, knew what the army wanted, knew what questions would be asked, knew how to answer the questions that would be asked, and had a bit of experience, a bit of gumph behind him, a bit of puff in his chest. You know, he was the kind of person you looked up to. When you saw him in the recruiting office, you thought, I want to be like that man there one day. And he drew people. Now you get in there, if you don't do the whole process online, you get some wet-ass, lame-back fucking civvy telling you this, that, and the other. You know, this is why they've done it. The lame-ass stinking civvy gets 18 grand a fucking year to sit in the fucking recruiting office and do, they think, the same job as the 35 grand a year platoon sergeant who goes in and does it. It ain't the same fucking job that that person's doing. And the net result is, you might have saved a few quid on the fucking wage bill, but the fucking net result is, you're pushing a load of shit into the fucking depots. Or turning people away from it in the first fucking place, okay? Because recruitment in some areas where they're trying to re-enlist people and get them back in, then becomes difficult because the civvy doesn't have any respect for what the man's fucking done who's trying to re-enlist. It's an absolute fucking travesty. So, look, I really could, I haven't got time to do it tonight, but I really could go right into depth on this. And I am going to start rolling this out over the next couple of weeks because that one question has 15 shows worth of answers in it, I can promise you that, okay? So that was a little touch on where I'm going with that. And a second rant, Millsy, for your missus. So there you go. Happy days. They should let veterans do the job. There's a lot to be said for that. I think that veterans should get involved in the resettlement of soldiers as well. What good is it, a fucking man who's coming to the end of his career, he's done 22, 23, 24 years, okay? He gets a nice desk job. He thinks to himself, right, this is all right, this is cushy. Guys are coming to him to ask how they should integrate into civil society, blah, 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 blah. The fuck does he know? He's been in the army all his life. From 18 years old as a boy, he's been in the army all his fucking life, and he's advising people on how to get into civvy street. Fucking wake up. Wake up, will you? There's fucking guys up there queuing, you know, guys who could come back in as reservists who's had 5, 10 years experience on civvy street, who could tell you all about the pitfalls, all about what qualifications you need, all about how to go down the job centre and fucking sign for your house and all the rest of the fucking shit. And they could be getting it so right, and they're getting it so fucking wrong. So there you go. There's another rant, Millsy, for your missus. She must have been a field day tonight. Hi, Phil. Robert. Andy Howard says I'm spot on. Mike Mackey, civvies and recruitment officers is like pissing in the wind. It is absolutely pissing in the wind. They don't understand. They don't know what is required. They've not done a day's service. They couldn't even know how to polish a pair of fucking boots properly. Do you know what I mean? They're fucking idiots. Idiots. Ooh. Ooh. 7 para or 2 non-commando. Options on the unit, says Leo. Right, I will do a bit about 7 para and 2 non-commando. They're both outstanding units. I've got a lot of time for both of the units. They both do recognised decent courses. Obviously 7 doing P Company and 2-9 doing commando. It is horses for courses. You know, not everybody wants to be a para. Not everybody wants to be a commando. They're both extremely, extremely decent units, and I will do a piece on each unit this year sometime, as I will highlight, you know, if people want units highlighting, I will talk about them. I do have a bit of an affinity with 2-9. There was quite a few guys that served in D Squadron at the time that hailed from there, and I've had some very good mates from there. Not had so much to do with 7, but, you know, they're decent guys. They are, you know, they do decent jobs. My youngest son at the moment, Jack, he's hopefully going to go 2-9. That's what he wants to do. He's in the artillery, so he's thinking about doing 2-9. And if I was in the artillery, that would be where I wanted to go, to be honest. I know there's some other outstanding units, and I'll probably upset a few people by saying, you know, go 2-9, go 7, all the rest of it. But For me, it would be 2.9 all the way, I'm sorry. Or 148 battery in the artillery's case. Good evening. Hello, Andrew, just joining with Phil's rant then. You can both in 148 battery. Yeah, 148 battery, for those of you who don't know, are like forward reconnaissance for the artillery, so they mark and record all that. Cracking job. And they do OPs and all that sort of thing. It's an absolute belter of a job. I'll cover 148 battery on the show one day as well. We'll have a look at what they do, because they're a cracking unit as well. Those sorts of units they're worth their weight in gold for what they do as well. They are cracking, proper good jobs. I enjoyed your books, Phil, said Nigel Green. Thank you very much, Nigel. Carl Stevens, I see you at the shooting show of the NEC. Any plans to go to Harrogate for the Northern show in May, Phil? I'm not sure, not at the moment. But like I say, if you can get to the shooting show, I'll be there. Jason Lyons is watching. Robert Sean Lee is watching. Andy Hammond, really good point. 23 years served, senior NCO, serving, advising on Civvy Street, and a 21-year-old civvy advising on joining the army. Yeah, it's absolutely fucking topsy-turvy, isn't it? I mean, fuck me, how fucking further from the truth could you get, other than the 21-year-old civvy join the fucking army if you want to have an opinion on what it fucking is like and what you can really do, because otherwise I'm not going to listen to you ever, because you're just full of shit as far as I'm concerned. You've got nothing to offer me when it comes to the army. Nothing, all right? Here's my question. Why in God's name do we train the military only to get rid of them a few years down the line and then advertise for new recruits? Me, I started at £5.12 and 6, and I loved every minute. From a children's home to the street, sign up to the roof over my head, finding food in my belly, clothes on my back. Trust me, it was a lifesaver, says Mike Ellis. Mike, I've got a similar story to yourself. This is the retention element. And when I mentioned earlier about pointless fucking exercises and pissing troops about and them not getting on courses, I've just, I'm going to do a piece on 2PWRR's boxing team. Myself and Loz have sponsored them. We've got some gear, and the reason I wanted to get involved at that level, and it's a retention thing. Boxing teams, sporting teams, stuff that's being done when there's no operations on, which keeps troops focused and it gives them something to do, is fucking great. Otherwise, you've got troops that all they ever do is a gate guard. It's just bollocks. You've got to look after your troops. And if it costs a little bit more to do that, then so be it. You've got to bring money in from somewhere. And at the moment, I've got massive beef where a lot of this foreign aid's going. And when you look at the actual budgets that the troops get, and I'm not going to quote them because I'm not 100% sure, but they're not big in comparison to what we're giving elsewhere. All right, so a little bit of management properly, and a little bit of looking at where we can actually save money, not just giving blokes an extra fucking week's leave to save on the fuel bill, but actually looking at where we can save serious money and equip them properly and train them properly and give them stuff to do to retain them, so that when they get out they say I had a cracking time and people want to join, and then the recruitment thing picks up. Unless you get that circle properly going round, it's disjointed, and when things are disjointed they don't fucking work, and when they don't work they're no fucking good. And we don't want to end up with an army that's no fucking good, do we? Okay? So it needs looking at. And I'm gonna give the fucking MOD them ground truths. And I'm going to research it. I'm going to give them facts. I'm not going to give them bullshit. I'm going to give them straight from the hip how it comes. All right? So there you go. Jason Field, guard and areas. Bullshit. Jason, right. There needs to be a gate guard. There needs to be a gate guard, and there needs to be, unfortunately, some area cleaning. Right? I get that. I'm not fucking bothered about that. In fact, area cleaning when I was in was a good excuse. It was the only time you could walk around camp and have a cigarette at the same fucking time and not be running. Do you know what I mean? When you was in depot, that's how it was. So I didn't mind a bit of area cleaning. Pick up a few dog ends, shove a few leaves in my pockets. So what? Do you know what I mean? Nice little walk after breakfast in that case. You know what I mean? Not a problem. But when you start getting to a scenario where, you're not getting the postings, your overseas exercises are getting cancelled, you're just fucking staggering on all the time, that's when the morale starts going down, and that's when it needs lifting. And like I say, taking the blueprints for exercises in fucking faraway countries, bringing them here and trying to do the same thing on Salisbury Plain does not work. That is not a substitute for a decent fucking exercise. If you're going to do a decent exercise in this country, plan and prepare and do it properly for this fucking country. Don't try and rejig it and refix it so that you can try and replicate something that's got nothing to do with this fucking country. That's bollocks, all right? So there you go. I've had me piece on it, my little say, all right? Leif Stacey, get on question time. I'd love to go on question time. I really would. Cosford Air show this year, Phil, mate? No, I don't think so. I'll give you a list of all the shows I'm doing later. Really sad listening to the lad on the SAS Who Dares Wins telling about hearing his wife getting stabbed to death by the paranoid schizophrenic while he was on the phone. I mean, that's just absolutely shockingly destroying. I mean, I can't. It's one of those ones again. You don't even want to think about how hideous that is. Okay, and you know, fair play to that guy. I think he came off the course in the end, but you know, fair play to him for keeping himself together and getting his life in order. And like I say, he's got kids. He has to look after those kids, and that's a man that's seriously got his priorities in life right, and is seriously, you know, it gains respect through that. You don't need to be doing courses. You don't need to be running up and down hills, mate, to gain my respect. You've already fucking got it by the way you've conducted yourself and stuck by your fucking kids. When that is something fucking heinous. And in today's society where people always need something to whinge about and something to moan about, no, isn't it terrible? That's fucking terrible, and that man's cracking on. So don't come to me with your fucking ingrown toenails and your fucking this, that and the other fucking phobia, fear and God knows other fucking crappy made up piece of shit you fucking moan about. That man's had fucking trauma and drama in his fucking life and he's cracking on with it. So, yeah, that's it. Jerry Gallagher, you should be running the MOD film. I'd love to run the MOD, but not for that long. John Hepburn, Highfield from Northern Ireland. What about you dead on? Northern Ireland, what about you dead on? Okay. That's about us for today. Tomorrow's Thursday. I'm not sure what I'm doing yet, as I haven't been all sure all week. I hope to have some photographs for you tomorrow of PWRR in their new sports kits, doing a bit of boxing. I did some sparring myself, so I'll try and put that on the wall for you. You can have a look at me getting punched around by their heavyweight, which was quite good fun. I enjoyed it. Graykie's warming up like she's going to punch me in a minute when I've finished here. So I should keep out of her way and dodge the bullets coming out of Gracie's big guns, you know what I mean? I'm waffling now. Until tomorrow, who dares wins, and I'll see you all later on. Thanks for watching.